unlock those weapons.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one thing I'm really looking at is how they start, specifically in that first quarter. Last week, there are 3 opening drives, all 3 and outs. When you're an offensive coordinator, one of the biggest things you do in the midweek is you write your script. You script out your opening 15 plays, your opening 2 drives. And a lot of times, you expect that to be a lengthy drive. You don't want to go 3 and out, especially at home. So this is an opportunity for Joe Sloan to kind of get LSU's offense rolling earlier in the game, especially in that first quarter. They have not looked good in the first half of any of the first 3 games offensively. And so this is that last kind of opportunity for them to go and show that there's still some hope and potential on this offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, there needs to be an identity. There needs to be just either that's running the ball or throwing the ball, getting that ball over the middle. I'd like to see more of that Xavier run package. I'd like to see, putting him in a position to succeed, and that's something that they just haven't been able to do, is putting their best guys in the best situation to succeed, to become, where this team could go. Obviously, Trey'Dez Green is listed as questionable, so maybe we see him tomorrow, but probably not. So you'd like to see more guys get into the rotation, a lot more guys get involved with the game. Who is a guy in this receiving room? I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, that you would like to see have a big game tomorrow, especially against a defense that has given up 51 points this season. But this defense is an FCS school that is, leading the FCS in points on turnovers and points from that defensive end. So, who is it?
Well, I was going to say Nick Anderson.
Yeah.
I was going to. But now I'm going to change it. This is their chance to get Chris Hilton involved. Brian Kelly spoke earlier in the week about how they can get him more involved in the vertical passing game. I think this is the best opportunity for them to establish that kind of deep ball from Nuss and that connection to a guy like Chris Hilton. Because of how speedy he is, look, what has it been? Four targets in 3 games so far?
Yeah, something like that.
You don't want to see that from a guy who showed potential late in last season with the bowl game, and you really want to see them be able to establish a connection. If they can't get Chris Hilton involved, then I want them to get Nick Anderson involved, because I don't think they've done a good enough job of getting either of those 2 guys involved.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on Chris Hilton Jr. because, he's been quiet on stats, but the talent there is undeniable. His speed, his clean routes, his ability to stretch the field. With Nuss looking to establish rhythm, Sloan needing to show creativity, I say just let him fly.
Yeah.
And that's I agree. I think you need to get Chris Hilton more in the game. But look, we're going to see Aaron Anderson tomorrow. We're going to see that ball over the middle because they stayed away from it so much against Florida for whatever reason. And that is where they have been able to eat in these years past. Whether that was against A&M last year or against Clemson this year, you were able to see that over-the-middle pass to either Xavier or Aaron Anderson. Aaron Anderson was quiet last week. He's not going to be quiet this week. I expect a big, big game out of Aaron Anderson. So let's move on. LSU, like I said, needs this game just to tune up everything, get this offense where it needs to be, because it hasn't been where it needs to be moving forward. This is the last game that you're going to get before you see Western Kentucky at the end of the road. That is, a game that you should win every time. A game that everyone on your team is better than everyone on their team. That's just how it works. It's simple. And this is the last time for this offense to really do this for this LSU football team. How would you like to see LSU handle this game with the players they have, whether that's pulling Nuss in the second quarter if they're able to get the lead, make sure he's healthy, but you want to see this LSU offense work. You want to see this LSU offense really put stuff together and show improvement. So what do they need to do? What's the key for this offense?
I think you've said it already. Establish an identity, whether it's in the run game, which hasn't looked good, or in the pass game, which also has looked slow. Find what's going to make this offense special. What's going to keep these defensive coordinators up late at night. They need to find that. The other thing I want to see them do is play together as a unit. The defense, they're doing a great job of that. Everyone's playing together. It's 11 guys all doing their job. Offensively, we're not seeing that. There are times where Nuss doesn't have time to throw. There are times where Nuss has time to throw, but no one's open. There are times where they hand the ball off to Caden Durham, and the hole's not there. I need to see them play together. I need to see all of them, one, establish the identity, and two, get the guys involved to where you can play as a unit.
Right, and Brian Kelly did say in his press conference that this week they're going to be working on practice, urgency, and precision, and especially refining that shorter yardage plays. But this game really isn't about styling points. It's really about if LSU can really dictate and show that the team that we want them to be and where they should be along in this game.
Yeah, and that's just, they need to be shown.
Right.
They can't show any signs of not being ready or complete. This is it. And we're going to really find out this week if this LSU offense is struggling with that injury from Nussmeier or if they just aren't there yet. We're really going to find out everything we need to know about what this LSU offense is going to bring towards the end of the season tomorrow night here in Death Valley. So
to me, it's their last shot.
It's
like
I said,
they're good or they're not.
Yeah,
so.
and this is it. We're gonna really know. No more excuses. We're gonna find out if this LSU offense is legit or if we've been wrong this entire time. Now let's move on. LSU defense, aka Bayou Bandits, have been the heart, the soul of this team, the engine that keeps the train moving, like I like to call it. They have been unbelievable, perfect almost. And 5 picks last week against DJ Lagway and the Florida Gators. Obviously, against the Southeastern team, we aren't expecting much from the Lion offense, but anything can happen. This team didn't score against Louisiana Tech, but I've seen crazier things. Just probably not against the Blake Baker defense, though. But what would you like to see this LSU defense experiment against an offense like this? And what would what do you want to see Blake Baker try and do this week?
I mean, this is the perfect opportunity for LSU's defense to really experiment with pressure packages and personal versatility. I mean, Southeastern's offense was blanked by LSU Tech, so LSU can't afford to get creative, dialing up exotic blitzes, rotating in younger players, and test hybrid looks with safeties like Deshaun Spears creeping in the box. I mean, I'd love to see LSU mix in simulated pressures, and this is also the time to test man coverage. Give corners like their own reps on their own islands and really see who can hold up. The goal isn't really just to dominate, it's discovery. LSU should walk out of this game knowing exactly who can execute.
Well, to me, this is a very hard question to answer because everything I've seen from this defense I have loved. We've seen them dominate one-on-one with Mansour Delane and DJ Pickett. We've seen guys creep up and bait a guy like DJ Lagway into making a throw. The one thing that I haven't hated but I haven't loved is they play physical, but I feel like they could be a little bit more physical up front. I think their run defense has been great, and they've been getting pressure on the quarterback. But what they've kind of lacked, and I say lack in air quotes because I don't think it's been a big issue, is I want to see them get those sacks and forcing fumbles and fumbles. And to me, that's the one thing they're missing. I've seen what I've needed to see from the secondary. I've seen what I've needed to see from the defensive line in the run game. They've gotten pressure on quarterbacks, forced bad throws, but let's just see them get those sacks, and it's kind of nitpicky there.
And, well, I agree, but I agree more with you. I'd like to see what that depth looks like. I'd like to see what, who else we can bring in. And I'd like to see those guys make some plays. I'd like to see more Zach Weeks out there making a play in that situation. Obviously, West isn't going to play tomorrow, most likely. Doubtful is what he's listed at. So I'd like to see that depth area, more guys that we're not really hearing their name, and just guys that we're going to see more in the years to come. That's what I want to see from this LSU defense. But first things first, I want to see them dominate in the first 2 quarters. I want to see not even a gasp of air let up. I expect a shutout tomorrow night, and this defense has every possible way of doing so.
Yeah, but going back to what Will said, there is a big difference between playing aggressive and playing reckless. And that's really what the offense can do.
And so now, let's move towards the interceptions. Move more towards an interception style as, we saw 5 of them last week, as before then we weren't really able to see many. We saw one against Clemson, but the interceptions last week were the tail of the game, and that's what won you the football game. I think we're going to see one tomorrow night, maybe 2. Who's going to get it?
I would say A.J. Halsey again. I mean, this is a guy that he's playing that safety position. They can bait a bad throw. So I think A.J. Halsey gets one. And it wouldn't surprise me if he even gets a ball thrown his way. If Mansell Delane can just throw up, make a play. Would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, going back to that Florida game, Halsey was incredible. His positioning was perfect. It was beautiful. And I really want to see more of that in tomorrow's game.
Yeah, no, I think Halsey is a great pick. I'm not gonna go Halsey because you guys are gonna go Halsey. I think we're gonna see Cooley. I think DeMarcus Cooley gets another one, back to back for the kid. And if not, I'll go back to my favorite player on this team. He's now, but I've just been saying his name a lot. P.J. Woodland. I think those two guys are going to, they're gonna hear their name called tomorrow night, and there's a reason for it. But Cooley's been a ball hawk. And I expect to see more of that, especially this, and I'm about to talk about it. This Lion offense, they bring in a weird package, right? And they bring in a 2 QB system, and we'll more than likely see both of the quarterbacks tomorrow in Carson Camp and Kyle. Camp went 8 for 12 on 147 yards and 2 touchdowns last week against Mississippi Valley, while Lowe went 8 for 8, 155, and 3 tutties. So, obviously, it's against Mississippi Valley, and this is an FCS opponent, but they have 2 quarterbacks that they are going to bring in and out. So you're not going to be able to prep for just one guy. You're going to have to be able to know that there's 2 sides of the story. The other thing that these 2 quarterbacks do that really interests me is they run the ball. They're dual-threaded in both ways. They will do the read option. They will make the right read. So it's all about, for this LSU defense, is establishing that run defense from the quarterback perspective. So what does this defense need to do to make sure that there is no room for these 2 quarterbacks to soar tomorrow night?
Yeah, they're going to have to treat these quarterbacks like SEC-level dual threats, whatever you want to call it, because while the competition may be lighter, the danger of the mobility of these quarterbacks is so real. To shut down any chance of them just soaring, the Tigers have to maintain rush lane discipline and avoid that over-pursuit.
Right.
They have to contain it. Containment will be the biggest thing for this game.
I have one name, Harold Perkins. This is where you sit there and you just smile. Harold Perkins has excelled at this his entire time at LSU. Anytime we face a dual threat quarterback, I think back to his freshman season against Alabama, a big reason why they won that game. This is a game where Harold Perkins, Whit Weeks, maybe even Zach Weeks can excel. This is where your linebackers really come into play.
Yeah, I see let the QBs feast.
Yeah, no, I think we're gonna see a lot of, like you said, linebacker room. But I think what you mentioned earlier about that front 7, about guys like Gooden and Pyburn really getting to the quarterback and making them move out, making them move outside, so that you have a guy like Harold Perkins to go in there, or Whit Weeks, something like that. So we will see the 2 bad boys back in action tomorrow, fully healthy, ready to go, which is always a good thing. So, what is one thing from this defense that we haven't really seen much of, which is pretty hard. But what would we like to, we already talked, you kind of already talked about what what kind of schemes and what's just one little fantasy, I guess you could say, that you really want to see from this LSU defense?
I mean, I think the only thing I can think of would be a scoop and score for 6, a big man interception, something along the lines of that. They've been phenomenal all season long, and it's hard to just pick one thing that they're really lacking right now.
One thing I really want to see is man-to-man press coverage. I mean, I know it's a hard ask, and it requires technique and discipline, and trust is a big thing there. But it's the exact kind of challenge they need to see who's really ready for the SEC matchups.
Yeah, no, and I think I just want to see perfection tomorrow night, and that's it's a lot to ask for, but against a team like this, again, you know what you're supposed to do. There's an expectation for you now. There's levels, and you're at the top of this level, and so I think for Blake Baker and for this LSU defense, you just got to go out there and prove to everybody, let no questions on who you guys are. Because there's already some questions about this offense like we've talked about, but there's no really questions for this defense. And you don't want there to be any questions that spiral up after that. I expect a shutout. I'm going to talk more during my game pick, but I'd like to see 2 more interceptions. I'd like to see 4 turnovers tomorrow. You know what I mean? But most importantly, I'd like to see less than 200 total yards. I'm looking for just pure domination all across the board.
And I don't think that's unreasonable.
No.
Because that's what you'd want to expect from this team.
Exactly.
So.
But I also want to see them go out there and just have fun.
Yes.
Because when they're having fun, they're really connected. That's where the teamwork really comes together.
Yeah.
And the crowd, the environment is just amazing.
Right. And if you've been watching Whit Weeks, he has fun.
Oh yeah.
He has fun every time. So let's go in. Let's talk some game picks. It's time for some game picks. We got some decent games this week. We're going to start it off with the top 25 matchup. We got number 17 Texas Tech going on the road facing number 16 Utah. Who we got? Started off with you.
Give me the Red Raiders. I think they're one of the most underrated teams in college football right now. I know they're ranked in the top 20, but I don't think they're getting the love they necessarily deserve. I got Texas Tech tomorrow on the road.
I got Utah.
Oh,
I really
here we
want
go.
to see how they work in tomorrow's game, especially with the pressure they've been having in their coverage. So
Yep.
I want to see something really smart in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I think the Red Raiders are going to come off and win this game. I think they're going to hit into the road. They're going to, make everybody. They're going to silence the crowd. And I think this, like you said, it's a very underrated Red Raider football team, and they have a lot to prove as well. And they're looking to extend their record here. So now let's move on. SEC matchup. Number 22 Auburn hits the road, goes to 11 Oklahoma. Not really sure what the spread is. I'm pretty sure it's like 5.5 or something like that. Could be a really good game. What do you think?
I'll go Oklahoma.
Okay.
And John Mateer, I mean, he's just been playing like high in front.
Yep.
I really want to see more of that in tomorrow's game.
Yep.
Completely agree. I think John Mateer's too good. I don't think Auburn's going to have an answer for him. I have Oklahoma, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win by 2 scores.
I agree.
You got Auburn.
War Eagle.
Oh wow.
Here we go.
War Eagle. I think they're gonna walk into Norman and they're gonna shock some people. I think this Oklahoma team is very good, but I think this Auburn team is getting looked over. I think the SEC is a lot better than people are giving it credit to be this season, and there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of teams where it's kind of like last year, where guys are going to be able to beat up on each other. We're going to see it tomorrow. I really do think that War Eagle walks into Norman and pulls off the upset. I didn't put this on the script, but I'm going to just kind of jump right into it. Ole Miss hosting Tulane. Interesting ball game. The only reason I didn't have it on the script was because I kind of forgot about it. But I'll go ahead right now. I think Tulane gets it done, gets in the upset. Ole Miss, Andon Brabham at Tiger TV, me and him, we talked about it this morning. There's a lot of, Ole Miss is looking ahead, getting ready for LSU, looking over this Tulane ball club. And Tulane, they have a mission. They have something in mind, and they're a good team. They're a good team. They have a good quarterback. And, I just think that there's too much of looking over for this Ole Miss club, and they've got higher things in goal, and I don't think they're ready for the green wave.
Roll wave, baby, roll wave.
Yeah,
I got
pick.
Tulane.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Tulane on this one. I'm not quite sure much about the Tulane game, but for me, what it sounds like.
Ole Miss is a top 25 team. Tulane is unranked going into Oxford. It would be a big upset for Tulane. I just think that it is going to be an amazing game, and I think Tulane is able to pull off the upset. Obviously, number 21 at Nebraska. Number 21 Michigan at Nebraska. Going to be a tough game. Going to be a big game. Who do you got?
I think Michigan's going to do it. I like Bryce Underwood. He's looked good, so I got the Wolverines.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bryce Underwood finally unlocked his legs last week, so I'm going to have to go with Michigan.
Yeah, and I think Nebraska pulls it off. I've got upsets all over the place, but I think Nebraska gets it done, and I just think it's going to be one of those games that you're really going to see, a crowd that is ready for another big-time in-conference matchup. Really quickly, Illinois at Indiana.
Oh, Illinois. They look really good.
Yep.
Number 9 in the country. I got Illinois.
I agree with you. But I do want to a little bit cheer for Indiana just to see what they do, how
Yes.
they're going to play their offense and their defense. I really want to look at both sides for that game.
Okay. Give me Illinois as well. And the big one, give me your score predictions for LSU and Southeastern. I got LSU 35, Southeastern 0.
I have LSU 41, Southeastern 0. I think Nussmeier finally looks a little bit more comfortable. They get the offensive going and the defense. They're the body bandits, man.
I have LSU 45 and Southeastern for 6.
Well, great picks. I love it all. That will do it for us here today. I just want to thank the entire LSU communication staff for allowing us to do this in Tiger Stadium, especially Michael Bonnet and Kellen Lowe. Thanks to Will and Kai for joining me today. I'm Michael Poggi, and this has been the KLSU Sports Tailgate Show.